When an actor's past peak becomes the benchmark for every new role, even steady work can feel like a test. For Ren Jialun, this tension has become increasingly visible over the past year. Only after Ren Jialun faced mixed reactions for 2 consecutive dramas did many viewers begin to revisit a comment once made by producer Yu Zheng, this time with a more measured perspective. In recent years, costume dramas have remained one of the most visible arenas for Chinese male actors. For performers with an established fan base, this genre offers both stability and risk. On one hand, it guarantees exposure; on the other, it can easily lead to typecasting. As audience tastes evolve, expectations for maturity, variation, and credibility have naturally increased, especially for actors who have already passed their early career stage. Ren Jialun's career trajectory reflects this broader industry reality. Early in his career, his performances in historical dramas were widely praised. From the glory of Tang Dynasty to One and Only, he built a reputation for restrained acting and emotional subtlety, leaving a strong impression on viewers. At the time, his work was often cited as an example of how idol actors could successfully bridge popularity and performance. However, as his body of work expanded, some viewers began to feel that his growth had slowed. Similar styling choices, familiar character templates, and overlapping emotional beats led to discussions about whether repetition was limiting his range. It is worth noting, however, that maintaining consistency in a highly competitive industry is not without merit, and sustained output itself reflects a level of professional stability. Recently, 2 Ren Jialun's new dramas aired close together. Love and Crown, a historical drama centered on a complex imperial figure, continued his exploration of costume roles. Silent Tides, a realism-focused production broadcast on CCTV, marked a notable shift in genre and platform, prompting cautious optimism from audiences who hoped to see a different side of his acting. Following broadcast, reactions were mixed rather than uniformly negative. For Love and Crown, early performance indicators were strong. The drama exceeded 3 million reservations prior to release and quickly climbed popularity rankings. Such results reflected both Ren Jialun's existing fan base and the influence of the original novel. However, adaptations often face heightened scrutiny, and changes made for television inevitably divided viewers. While some appreciated the reinterpretation, others felt the narrative adjustments weakened character logic, which contributed to its final dub-in score of 5.9. Regarding Ren Jialun's performance, criticism focused on emotional restraint. Some viewers felt his expression range remained limited, particularly in high-intensity scenes. At the same time, others argued that his understated approach was consistent with his long-established acting style and that expectations may have shifted faster than his on-screen persona. In Silent Tides, Ren Jialun's transition into a more grounded, realism-driven role received a generally neutral assessment. His styling was widely praised for accurately reflecting the historical prototype, and his performance was described as stable and controlled. However, compared with experienced co-stars such as Lan Yingying and Li Chun, his screen presence was sometimes perceived as less commanding, sparking debate about suitability rather than competence. Line delivery was another point of discussion. While some viewers found his dialogue delivery rigid, others viewed it as a conservative choice aligned with the drama's formal tone. Similarly, criticism surrounding visual continuity, such as maintaining a composed appearance during physically demanding scenes, highlighted the tension between television aesthetics and realism, a common issue in period and mainstream productions alike. Looking back, Yu Zheng's earlier comment, "Those meant to climb will climb, those meant to descend will descend," is now often referenced not as a definitive judgment, but as a reminder of how quickly industry narratives can change. At this stage, Ren Jialun stands at a familiar crossroads faced by many established actors, whether to refine his existing strengths or push more decisively into unfamiliar territory. While recent works have sparked debate, they also demonstrate his willingness to remain active across different genres. Ultimately, audience response over time, not isolated ratings or criticism, will determine how this chapter of his career is defined. From an industry perspective, the discussion surrounding Ren Jialun's recent works also reflects broader structural challenges within Chinese television production. High output schedules, compressed filming timelines, and rigid genre expectations often leave limited room for experimentation. In this context, consistency is sometimes prioritized over risk-taking, especially for actors who carry commercial responsibility for a project. It is also worth noting that audience expectations for transformation can be highly subjective. What some viewers perceive as stagnation, others may interpret as stylistic continuity. Ren Jialun's restrained acting approach has long been part of his professional identity, and shifts in audience taste do not automatically invalidate that choice. Instead, they highlight the evolving standards applied to mid-career actors in a rapidly changing market. Moreover, comparing performances across different genres, historical romance versus realism-driven mainstream dramas, can be inherently complex. Each format places emphasis on different skills, from emotional expression to narrative restraint. As such, reactions to Love and Crown and Silent Tides may say as much about genre expectations as they do about individual performance. Finally, public discourse often amplifies extremes. Online criticism tends to be more visible than moderate approval, which can create the impression of unanimous negativity. In reality, both dramas maintain stable viewership and discussion levels, suggesting that while controversy exists, audience interest has not diminished entirely. Taken together, recent debates around Ren Jialun may be less about decline and more about transition. Whether he chooses to adjust his performance style, pursue more diverse roles, or continue refining his existing strengths, his next projects will likely clarify how he positions himself within the next phase of his career.